watching right now, if you're watching TV, you know this is crazy. Hey, Jace, if you're watching TV, and I know you want to kind of vent, I'll give you a chance to vent here. You can say whatever you want to say. It's a lot going on right now. I want to give you guys a chance to come on and say something if you want to. I was watching TV. I'm tweeting this out on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And there is a lot going on right now. And the TV's been on all day. I knew it was going to be crazy today, but I had no idea it was going to be this crazy. I mean, I've been watching photos of inside the Capitol where they're taking pictures with the statues. It's been compromised, and I've never seen this before in my life. And if you want to come on and talk, if you're in America or you're in Canada or you're in the UK, I'm going to put a link up, and I want you to come on and tell me about what you think of what you're seeing. This is your chance, but stay away from the, profanity and give everybody a chance to say what they want to say. But this is your chance that if you are watching this, there's a link here. If you want to come on and talk, you are welcome to talk. I know that you guys have to vent. Um, this is crazy. It's kind of like I'm almost in tears because I've never seen anything like this before in my entire life, and it's sad. And yes, someone said we are watching a coup. You know, I don't think it's going to be an actual coup because a coup would be taken over by the military. But I do understand what you're saying. Um, yes, this is crazy. I'm not going to pick sides of who's right, who's wrong, but this is clearly not right. What's going on here, and it's important that we look at it as the way it is. And I'm not sure. I'm sure you guys can hear me. My mic is right here. If you can't, let me know in advance. I can't always read all of the comments, but Jace is on here as well. I know he logged in. Uh, this is crazy, people. I mean, I was going to launch our podcast this evening, and based on how this whole plays out, it may be in jeopardy at this point. But I want to make sure that everybody here has a voice. And the importance of of the podcast I was launching today was for you to have a voice. And we're watching. If you're watching the news, um, I tweeted earlier that I'm actually weeping, and I'm doing whatever I can right now to keep from um, losing it on camera. But it's really sad what I'm watching right now. And apparently, someone was shot. I saw the video on MSNBC. I don't know who it was, but that there was a bullet wound of some sort. And I mean, if you're in another country, pop on. Tell me what you think from your country. Watching this, I mean, I'm from America. I live here, born and raised in America, and watching this right now, yes, I'm sorry. It's really sad to see this, and I just hope that we can come out of it. I mean, what do we do? How do we fix it? How do we fix what the problem is right now? And my it looks like my camera's frozen. I hope we can get it back. Jace, are you there?
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm here.
So apparently my camera's frozen. Uh,
Yeah, you froze up a bit.
you can take it from right now if you want to. You're here. You can talk for a
Yeah,
minute. Let me find out what happened.
yep. Um, I mean, I'm with you, right? Uh, I'm shocked. I'm surprised. Um, not not as touched as you are of this whole situation, but I am bothered. Um, and maybe it's just me being naive or whatever. I don't understand. There's a lot of
Yeah,
things about politics and what goes on behind closed doors that I don't understand. But there are several things going on in this world that I try to have an opinion about and I try to voice an opinion about. And it turns out that According to the people that I've made phone calls to, like my local government or whatever, basically I was told my opinion is not important.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. For some reason, my webcam froze, so I'm going to unplug it and plug it back in. Would you hold the fort down for a few seconds while I try to do this,
Yeah,
Jace?
yeah,
If you
I
can
can
hear
do
me,
that.
I don't know what happened, but
Yeah, I hear you. Yep.
all right. So let me unplug my webcam and I'll plug it back in again. You keep talk. You keep talking.
Okay. On you know, quick little note about what I'm talking about. My twin brother is incarcerated, and they're saying that for every month that you serve, you're getting 6 months of good time for a max of up to 1 year. And after what my brother did, I personally don't believe that he deserves it in any way, shape, or form. And I was basically told by uh, government that I have to make other phone calls, and there's other people that they want me to talk to voice my opinion. Well, you should consider the fact that everybody, inmate or not, has had to go through and excuse me, Stanley, but a shitty situation. A lot of us have had to bury family members or cremate family members and couldn't go to a service because of COVID. Or, we still had to continue to work. We still had to continue to pay our bills. We still had to continue to live our lives. Why are criminals having everything handed to them? Why are inmates getting free health care on our dime? Why are they getting free meals on our dime? And now they're basically getting credit at triple time for time served over something they should not be rewarded for. Whether they're in a terrible situation or not, they put themselves in that situation. Not me, not you, not anybody else watching this. There's no reason why they deserve to get extra credit just so they can be pushed out of the system a little bit faster. I think it's a terrible thing, and I was basically told by my local government that they don't really care what I have to say.
All right. Well, I appreciate that you had a chance to voice your opinion, and we don't want to get too far off subject. That was some you made some valid points there, but but what's going on right now in the
Well, yeah,
U.S. is something I've never seen, and I'm sure a lot of you have never seen. I mean, we read history books of stuff going on in the U.S. and and you look at social media and there's different versions of what happens and what's going on. But it's up to you to make a decision what you think is going on and what's the right thing, what's the wrong thing. If you're here, I just put a link up. You're welcome to come on and voice your opinion for a second. Um, just keep it clean and keep it pretty civil, and we appreciate that. But
may I
apparently,
ask one
there's an
question of you,
update.
Stanley?
Hmm?
May I ask one question of you?
Yes, sir.
I respect the fact that you are touched by this situation going on. What part of it bothers you the most? Is it because you're scared because you don't know what could come of it?
I
Or
don't know
because,
what's going to come of this whole thing, and it's the uncertainty of knowing what's going on right now. There's a lot
okay,
going on, and it's this is something we've never seen before, and people are being injured for no reason. Um, it's a process that we have to go through as being in the
fair,
United States.
fair. But you see, the problem is that you have your local governments that are telling you have a right to peaceful protest. You have a right to freedom of speech. But the moment that you do that, you get shot with rubber bullets.
Yeah, well, you keep in mind though that this has been going on for years. That you have the
Yeah,
right to speak, but remember though, remember when you were in high school, they had no saying that you have the right to say which you have the right to freedom of speech, but you can't yell fire in a movie theater. So they're
right.
always
But you also have to deal with the consequences of what you say and do.
yeah. I can barely hear you, but say it again.
I said you also have to deal with the consequences of what you say and do.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a process that we have in America to deal with the consequences of whatever we deal with. But when we overtake buildings because we don't like something, I personally disagree with that. But we have
Absolutely.
Lauren on here. Lauren, did you want to pop in so you could say something, or you're welcome to pop in and show your face, or you can just say something. I'll turn your mic on. Uh, Lauren, are you there? Your mic's not up loud enough, so we can't hear you. But we'll come back to you in a moment. I'm looking for the green line. When I see that, I know I can hear you. Keep in mind, you speak up clearly when you do talk, so I can hear what you have to say. So, there are many different comments in the chat, which I can't always read them all. and everybody has a right to their own opinion, and everybody has a right to agree or disagree. It's when we disagree and the disagreements go further than just a conversation of disagreement, that's when we have issues. I mean, the purpose of us here and our whole society is to be able to have a meaningful discussion. And in many places and many times, the meaningful discussion goes from talk to, as you said, Jace, rubber bullets. And that's not always the way to deal with things, is to go through that process. I mean, I believe in a democratic process where everybody has the right to say freedom of speech, all the different, things in the world that gives you the ability to talk about things. Just like tonight, we're going to try to have the podcast implicit bias that talks about things like that. So if you're here now, and you're right, Mitzi, these people weren't. When you start kicking in doors, that is no longer a peaceful protest. That everybody has. Personally, when I do segments, when I used to do people behaving badly and caught misbehaving, I've always said this: everyone has the right to protest. That is a given fact. That is our constitutional right. But when you start tearing up buildings, breaking down doors, setting fires, looting stores, no matter what group you say you belong to or you're affiliated with, that's when it's no longer peaceful anymore, and that's when things change. Lauren, you want to try it again? Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Stanley?
I can hear you. Go ahead and tell me what you want to say.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing, opening the chat up during what's going on at the Capitol today, Stanley. I just think, over the past couple of years, it's been a progression of an exposure and us seeing just how privileged certain people in our country are. And it's just shocking to me the names that people get called over the summertime when they're protesting for what's happened in this country. I'm talking about the Black Lives Matter protest, and that's actually, in my personal opinion, and everyone can say whatever they want, but that's a meaningful protest. And it's the same people who are probably calling those people names that are derogatory that are now storming our Capitol for, if you ask me, completely ludicrous reasons and in a very terroristic manner, which is it's just shocking to me, the double standard. And I just think it's really being exposed this year, and to ignore that is not acceptable at this point anymore. That's all I'll say on that, though.
I'm going to say something, and I agree with you to a certain extent, because there was a tweet the other day which I commented on, and of course the guy didn't like my comment. But there was video I posted of people looting a store on a Rodeo Drive, and in the comment the guy wrote, "Look at these Black Lives Matter protesters looting this store." And my comment was, well, I mean, just because they were black, you can't necessarily call them Black Lives Matter protesters. That's like, I don't know, just to me it didn't. Unless they were holding up signs saying Black Lives Matter, to me, they're just looters and they're thieves. They're not, you can't associate with any particular group because you don't like what they're doing, and you associate with that group to try to demoralize the group that has, whether you agree or disagree with what they say, the group is still there, and you can't take that comment, you can't take their actions and associate with another group. That's in my opinion.
Definitely. I appreciate it, Stanley. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. So if you have a chance to say something, and thank you, Lauren, I appreciate you coming on. Here's a link that you can click to say something if you want to. And again, I ask that you please keep it clean, and but say your mind. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to show your face. We'll listen to your voice, but just keep in mind that if you do something that is too far off,
Excuse me.
We're going to mute you.
Excuse me. My son's bus is coming, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop off and listen offline. But thank you for letting me join you.
No, thank you, producer Jace. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you a little later today, and we'll talk some more off camera.
All right, brother. I'll see you in a bit.
All right, man. Thank you. So, as you guys are all here, you see, I mean, there's a lot going on. And if you're watching TV, and there are some people who are pro-Trump, there's some people who are anti-Trump, there are some people who are just trying to figure out what's going on. Well, since I'm a journalist, I'm right in the middle. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. There's a lot going on right now, and I hope that at some point it gets resolved. Some people call them deplorables. One person just wrote that Trump needs to be removed right now. The election process took place, and in January 20th, unless something really crazy happens, and right now there's a lot crazy happening, so I don't know what to expect anymore. Uh, he's Our new president will be sworn in on the 20th, so I guess we'll wait and see how that plays out. Anybody else want to pop on and say anything else that we might be missing? Now, if you're here to debate who's the better president, this is not the right place for it. We're not here to discuss politics, but we are here to discuss what's going on right now in Washington, D.C. So I'm waiting for anyone who may have a comment. I'm reading some of the comments that are popping in. If you want to pop online, Ted wrote, people behaving badly. Yes, I would call break into a building. That would be bad behavior. Whether you agree or disagree, this isn't how we deal with the U.S., and this is not how things are taken. This is not how we do things. Somebody wrote deplorables. Sherry K wrote, I'm afraid this is not the USA. But yes, it is the USA right now. And this is what's going on if you have your TV set on. Someone else wrote, this is not politics. This is a broken country. Thank you, Betty. You're absolutely right. This is broke. We are broken right now. And can we fix it? I don't know. And someone asked, how do you know which news source to trust? Well, I personally trust Reuters and AP, Associated Press. As a matter of fact, when I read stuff from them, I know it's pretty much been verified. I'm not going to, I don't, those are the sources for a lot of news. Also look at, another thing I look at is public television. They seem to be pretty much their finger on the pulse. But here's something interesting, and I want you to think of this. 10 years ago, a friend of mine told me, and we were having a conversation, and I really don't like to discuss politics that much. But what he said to me was that in 10 years, now this was 3 years ago, that we won't have the United States anymore. And of course, I don't want to believe that. But then another person also told me that in a certain amount of years, there would be no more, there'll only be poor people and rich people. And of course, we've kind of reached that level right now. So there's a lot going on. Anybody else want to come on and say something? Lauren, again, thank you for your comments. Thank you, Jace. I appreciate yours. Thank you, Sherry, for trusting me. I mean, I'm just here to try to keep it simple. I'm not trying to go deep into of who's right and who's wrong. But obviously, when you break into the White House, I'm sorry, take that back. Let's hope that doesn't happen. When you go into the Capitol building and they haven't torn anything up yet. But have you ever noticed that sometimes when people break into a building, before you know it, that building is on fire? And, they brought out the National Guard. I've heard they're on their way. But what do we do? How do we fix this? I guess the question is, how do we fix this? This is the USA. This is the USA. This country is not broken. We have extremists on both sides, and we'll get through it. Okay, Mike, I like that. We'll get through it. Yes, and you're right. There are people on both sides that are that should be held accountable. But our system has checks and balances. When you start breaking into buildings and tearing things up, and people getting shot inside there, and tear gas being deployed, and whatever is going on, that's a lot. And even crazier is that they cut off the cameras. So you can't tell what's going on. The only thing you have is some independent journalists that are on the inside. And Deuce Zod, he says that these lockdowns need to end. People are stressed, mentally, physically, with nothing to do. The lockdowns, in my opinion, I mean, we're supposed to try to make this virus go away. We're not going too far, of course. But as long as we're out there spreading it and it's getting worse, I mean, it's not going to get any better. We're going to be doing this forever. And I don't want to do this forever. I don't want to do this forever. And Betty writes, you're right. So violence extremists isn't on both sides. But there are some extremists on both sides. Now, when we say extremists, we don't mean violent always. You can be extremist by your actions and your words. So They're right now trying to take down the American flag. I guess they're going to probably fly a different flag. I don't know. But, this can all go away if our president would just tell them to stop. But that hasn't happened. We need somebody to tell them to stop. We need to have some semblance of order. We don't have it right now. I think everybody who's entered the building should be held accountable if they entered illegally. And the fact that I saw a video of them walking through the area where the statues are. I forgot what that area is called. But there's a lot going on. And again, if you want to say something, if you want to just voice your opinion, here's your chance. I mean, you can speak out right now, say something. The link, click the link. You can see what's going on. So I'm just trying to make sense of, I just need to make sense of what's going on. And right now, a lot is going on, and I can't make sense of it. I know it sounds like I'm rambling, but I'm not. It's just a lot of stuff going on. So if you want to join in right now and have a conversation with me, feel free to click that link. It's in the chat side. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And, and if you don't like what I say, that's fine. I'm not here for you to say something that you like. I'm here to tell you how I feel. And if you want to take your chance to say how you feel, then here's your chance to come on. Nothing is one-sided. For every action, there's a reaction. And if you have a reaction, you may not like the reaction sometimes. And right now, I don't like the reaction. There's also comments about how there were police in full military gear when there were black protesters, and then there were none with these protesters. And again, we're missing the point with that, because the point is that this shouldn't be going on. We shouldn't have to worry about an evacuating Senate from trying to do something that's supposed to be done. We've done this for hundreds of years, and this is the first time it's been interrupted that I can tell. But I'm reading some stuff here. Excuse me for a second. It's just me. If it was said 4 years ago that he would never give up power, this was a sad day for America, but not unexpected. And Fox News is saying, according to, a lot going on here, so bear with me. This is all live, so I got to read it. How did they get in the building? Let's talk about that for a minute. I mean, that building, and I've been over there, and I've been in the underground tunnels where there are little trains that take you from one building to another building. I've been inside of that area. And my question is, how did they get inside? We don't know. We don't know. So someone said they saw the Confederate flag being flown inside. Again, I'm watching this right now. I'm showing pictures of people that are hunkering down inside the building. I saw shots of people, Secret Service holding weapons at the door, trying to prevent people from coming in. This is really a sad day in America, and I said it and I meant it. If you want to come on, you can. Everybody has. Oh, they got in by smashing the windows. Yes, they did. You're absolutely right, Frida. A lot of you guys are here are my regular followers, and some people showed up for the first time. And I'm not going to pick sides. I just know that what we're watching on TV right now is not good for anybody. And it's, yes, as Sherry wrote, it is crazy. It is batshit crazy. Yes, I will say that. And Alex, yeah, I'm worried. I mean, this is America. I'm sure things will come around. I mean, yes, this is in D.C., but this can reverb across the country in a heartbeat, and you know that. We all know somewhere who agrees with whatever you say, so they get. Okay, I'm trying to read it and I can't totally, so I'll pump it up here. There we go. Show. There we go. We all know someone somewhere who agrees with whatever you say. So they knew someone that That's how they got in. Well, someone said that they got in because there was someone on the inside that helped them in. I don't know. They just got in. I mean, if you have brute force and enough people, you don't need someone to let you in. You just need to move in. You've seen those. You've seen those protests where people just, groups of people just come and they're overwhelmed. It's overwhelming force. That is what it is. And, maybe someone let them in, but I'm not going to speculate on that either. I'm just assuming that they got in by brute force. And it's crazy. It will, and this will go down in history forever. So, this will have a huge impact on the election? Keep in mind, the whole January the 6th was just symbolic. Election is election. That's not going to change anything. And so apparently Laura said there's a video where they just did what I said. They bulldozed their way in. Now, there's going to be a lot of video, and there's going to be a lot of people out there with their own opinions. I'm not here to give opinion. I'm only here to talk about what we know. Can this delay the inauguration day? I was told that the inauguration day is sealed in stone. So even if they do it from an underground bunker, it will still be an inauguration. Normally what you see with inaugurations is pomp and circumstance. Example, when you graduate from college, they could just give you a diploma and say you graduated. But the fact of the matter is, the real graduation is when they when you actually get the points you need, you graduated. Getting married, you don't have to have a ceremony to be married. Once you sign the wedding certificate, you are officially married. So it will not change who is going to be president. That is sealed in stone. That is part of our Congress and part of our, now unless we go into a major civil war and everything just goes to kaput, I don't see that happening. But this is not, and like Karen wrote, this is not the right way to make history. So January 20th is going to happen no matter what. We can tear down walls and rip open windows and yes, David, there is some insanity going down there. So my explanation is what it is that the election was made and he was confirmed. So on the 20th, whether or not there is a ceremony on the outside of the Capitol building steps does not mean he is not president. They can do it anywhere. It can be done in California. It can be done anywhere in the United States on American soil. They can take it to Hawaii as long as it's done. G Moneyman is in D.C. Bro, why don't you come on and tell us if you're seeing anything, can you come on and talk to us? Here's a link for you. Or anybody else who wants to come on and say something. There's a link. Come on and talk and tell us what you see if you're there. We want to hear it. I want to hear it. I'm not there. I'm sitting at home in the comfort of my TV set watching this right now. This is crazy. And right now, the president-elect, Biden, is on TV right now. I don't have a way to pull it up, but if I did, I would let you listen to it. But let's listen to what he has to say for a minute, and now see if I can put the mic over there. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Assault on most sacred of American undertakings, the doing of the people's business.
This is streaming from MSNBC.
Let me be very clear. The scenes of chaos in the Capitol do not reflect a true America, do not represent who we are.
Latrice, yes, that whole area was going to be locked down for sure.
A small number of extremists dedicated to lawlessness. This is not dissent. It's disorder. It's chaos.
So he's calling it disorder and chaos. So,
it must end.
And it must end. So,
I'm calling this mob to pull back and allow the
I miss you too, Catherine. I miss all you guys. So I came on here just so you have a chance to vent. One person came on and two people came on and vented. Producer Jace and Laura. Thank you very much for both coming on. If you want to come on, there's a link. I'll place it one more time. Come on and talk for a minute. I'm going to turn this down so I'm not talking over him.
Therefore, I call on President Trump. Go on national television now.
So it is what it is. I didn't expect to come on live today until this afternoon at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is 4. But with all the news coverage right now, I have to wait and play it by ear. If this continues, a lot of news stations are on 24-hour coverage, right? 24/7 coverage right now for this whole thing. We're still going to try to do it. You know what? We're still going to try to do implicit bias. But this is crazy. And yes, Mike, very crazy. So, again, if you want to come on and talk, here's your chance. Say something. You're welcome to. I'm listening. I'm all ears. But again, I'm not picking sides. I'm just saying that this is crazy right now. And so apparently, whatever you said, it got censored, Latrice, a little bit. So anyway, hey Latrice, why don't you hop on here and come talk to me for a minute? You have a lot. You seem like you have a lot you want to talk about. Let's get you on here and talk. So click this. Let's talk. And you don't have to turn your camera on. Just turn your mic on. If you don't have a mic, then I understand. But this is crazy. And I appreciate the fact that you guys all came on to listen. And I'm missing something here. So yes, Boom Shakalaka says President Biden is President-elect Biden, because he hasn't been sworn in yet. He has to be sworn in, but he can be sworn in anywhere. So President-elect Biden is absolutely correct. Lawlessness needs to end, and those who violate need to be punished severely. Again, we have to see how this plays out. So, this is welcome back, Laura. Did you have something you want to say more? I'm listening to you right now. Oh, she popped back out. So, just out of curiosity, I'm going to read some of the comments out loud. What do you think right now is going on? And there's Laura again. Laura, did you want to say something?
Can you hear me okay, Stanley? My camera keeps my...
I hear you clearly. Let me turn my TV down so I can hear you better. Go ahead.
Okay. That's okay. One thing that came to mind was, I think about like a terrorist attack that stuck out in my mind, that sticks out in a lot of people's mind, maybe 9/11. And the way that we were fed all of what was happening with that was just through the news and through the newspapers. And now we're in 2020, and obviously it's not the same at all, but there's an attack on our federal building, and we can see it. Like, I was just on the YouTube channel, and I was seeing from the firsthand perspective of the people who were actually doing the protests. And it's so interesting. I think maybe some of the work, I saw a mention in the comments, somebody said people are really worked up and stressed out, especially because of the restrictions with COVID. And I think another part, maybe you could make the argument that people have so much more exposure to what goes on, and maybe it's too much for people to handle in our world anymore. But that was just a thought I had. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and others' thoughts as well.
Well, I can tell you this. I made a comment a while back. This is when social media first, started out, and how we are so inundated with so much information that it's mind-blowing. And now, that being said, a long time ago, back when we had just the three major networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS, and then all of a sudden CNN and a few others, there was basically a filter. So all the news came down, and then the people in the news business, and I've been in the business for 30 years, they see this information comes down, and then they determine what they think they should disseminate to the public. So there was a filter of all the information that came in. Now, here's what happened with social media. Social media ripped that filter out. So everything just falls out onto from information overload. And the bad part about information overload is that you get good information overload and you get bad information overload. And the good information, is stuff that's been gone through a process of being figured out if it's real or if it's not. The bad information is when people make up stuff and put it out there on social media. And here's a good example. So if you look at a lot of the Twitter accounts that are feeding misinformation, they have millions of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers. But if you go to a site that is trying to give you information that has been screened or checked or verified, not too many. Now, I'm not saying we go by how many people are following you. What I'm saying is that seems to be some kind of a appetite for misinformation. And I've seen it and I watch it, and I've actually tried to counter misinformation. And I sometimes read information I think is true, and I go, this can't be true. There's no way on earth this to be true. Turns out it's either true or not true. So the key here is, and if that makes sense to you, tell me if it doesn't, is that once we added social media, and let's be clear here, social media and mainstream media are not the same. Although they intermingle sometimes, they are not the same. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I like your perspective as a journalist, Stanley, because that's exactly it. It's a filter, and a part of that filter was having people who were educated, not just on like AP style, but educated on how to communicate in a way that it was not necessarily so much bias. And everyone, Facebook has it so that you see only what you want to see, and then the people writing the stuff are writing in a way so that it appeals to a certain audience. In the meantime, Facebook just wants to make money, so they don't really care about the misinformation. But that's a whole other topic, I suppose. But it's interesting.
Well, funny thing you mentioned about Facebook, because so here's how this whole thing works with Facebook, and it's and this is my take on it, and this is from before we got to political stuff with Facebook. Was that a while back? Someone wrote something about me that was really bad. It was really bad. And it wasn't true, but it was really bad. And they put it out there. And so I took the same post and stripped it from their page and put it on my page and said, look what people are writing about me. I got on Facebook punishment for a week. And so I reached out to Facebook and I said, wait a minute, why is it that the comment about me, which is negative, was okay to be posted, but when I posted the comment about me and showed the person who posted it, it was bad, and I get put on punishment. What do you think their response? Excuse me. What do you think their response was?
I don't know what to me, that's an example of a lack of consumer protection, right? Because you don't have any way to say, hey, this was flagged inappropriately. What was the response though, Stanley?
So their response was, Mr. Roberts, you're a celebrity. I don't consider myself a celebrity at all. You're a celebrity. You don't have the same rights as a regular person on Facebook. So they can say what they want about you, but you're not allowed to respond. That was their response. And this was, 7, 8 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I've learned now and that was before the word doxing came out. And maybe somebody will go back and go, doxing came out in the 1300s. But, doxing is when you take someone's personal information and post it online so that the world can see it. That's actually illegal. But when you take someone's and then one thing that amazes me with social media is that you have the ability to be a secret person. You don't have to be a real person. So you can be anybody. You can make up any name you want, and you can be that person. And if people don't pay attention, they don't know that it's not the real person. Because I've done stories about drivers, how they don't read signs. I had a lady tell me one day, she says, why would I want to read signs? I might crash. Well, take that same mentality and put it on social media. People do not read on social media. They will look at the title of something, and that title becomes what they perceive it to be in that mind. If I sat here right now with a glass of water, half the people would tell me I was drinking moonshine. The other half would say I'm drinking water. The other person would say the glass was half empty. The other person would say the glass is half full.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of misinformation. It's funny though, Facebook puts you on they're like, oh no, Stanley Roberts is behaving badly on Facebook, and it reminded me of your segments when you catch everybody else behaving badly. Although in this case you weren't behaving badly necessarily.
No, and I'm here because we want to try to give people a chance to speak their mind. And I appreciate you, Lauren. This is you coming on and talking, and you have some good insight, and I appreciate that. If you mind me asking, where are you based right now?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I'm originally from the 313, Detroit, Michigan, but I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, but likely going to move back home within the next year with everything going on.
Yeah,
But definitely
cost of
appreciate
living is out the
everything you
roof
do,
right now in the
Stanley.
Bay Area, and it's crazy. Everything's crazy. And you guys are having a
Yeah.
major spike in coronavirus cases, even though Arizona was the highest in the world yesterday.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm very tempted every day to move back to my home state. So we'll see. But I appreciate everything you do, Stanley. Always. Thank you so much.
All right, well, thank you, and I appreciate you coming online and talking to us. I love talking back and forth. And Maxim just joined us to see if Maxim's there. Maxim, are you there?
Yeah.
So, what do you think of everything?
Can you hear me?
And I know you're in Ohio.
Well, I'm probably not going to be the popular person, but I'm not surprised at what's going on one bit because they sidestepped all these voter fraud allegations. Courts never heard them. They said, well, you filed a lawsuit in a civil court, but this is a criminal matter. And most people think that Trump filed like 500 lawsuits where they only filed 3. But you have people that were sworn under oath, made statements, and have never been heard, like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. Even Georgia, we have video. And well, you're not seeing the right thing. This is what you were seeing. But if you don't hear these people's voices in the courts, people got upset and they said they were coming to D.C. Now, getting into the Capitol building, that's a little crazy.
Yes.
But like Charlottesville.
Yes, this is crazy.
Well, like Charlottesville, one group had a permit to be there. Another group came in and caused problems. And I'm old enough where the KKK used to come to your towns. If a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it? So if the KKK comes into town and causes problems, you give them, what they wanted.
Okay.
If you don't come there and see them, then they have nobody to talk to but air, and they leave. Toledo, Ohio had the same problem. The KKK come in there. They were there for 15 minutes, and the town rioted for all night.
Wow.
Burnt communities. It's crazy.
All right.
But
well, I appreciate you your input, Maxim. And by the way, Maxim is one of our regulars when we do one of our Millennial Boom podcasts on every Friday. That's myself and Diane Faith. We're both talk about just stuff, but not politics. We always try to refrain from getting too deep into politics, but today was so special that I wanted to come on and talk to people because I know some people wanted to voice their opinion. And I appreciate that you talked to us, Maxim, and you gave us your insight. And you're right. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around, it doesn't make a sound.
Well, like Portland, they did a lot of protesting there, and you had a lot of people that came in and caused problems. But Portland's been protesting for a long time, so Black Lives Matter lost their voice. And it was the people that were burning, looting, and causing problems. But nobody came out and really spoke about it.
Yeah,
and denounced it.
For me, as it relates to the Black Lives Matter movement, again, I'm a journalist, so I cannot pick sides. I don't pick sides. And it's
right.
It's bad optics when someone is claiming Black Lives Matters and then you see that same person looting. So I do. If you're claiming to be part of an organization, then there are some standards that should be withheld, that should be held up. And I firmly believe that all lives matter. That's me. But I do understand what the Black Lives Matter stands for, what they mean, what they're trying to say. I get it. But when you have people when someone actually went on camera and said that they were part of the Black Lives Matter and that they supported the looting. And then, if you are part of that organization and you support that kind of behavior, that to me that sends a strong message that I don't want. I don't like a lot of things in life, but the fact that I don't like a lot of things doesn't mean I get to go out and tear things up. And if I don't like Hondas, I don't go out and burn all the Honda cars down. If I don't like anything, there's a process, and this process. I mean, and you'll have people that argue that the blacks have never been part of the process their whole life. But again, speaking as a journalist, I have to look at both sides.
Well, like Grant posted in here that Black Lives Matter supposedly was funding Biden's campaign. If you donated to Black Lives Matter, Act Blue was the person that you were giving the money to, and they funded the Democrat Party. Kind of in a way. It's not directly giving it to Biden, but, there's good police, there's bad police. I'm a 6'3" fat white guy, and I get problems with the police too. It's all about your attitude when you get stopped.
Well, remember, keep in mind, I've done ride-alongs with law enforcement for years, and you think that I've done ride-alongs with law enforcement when I was at crime. The actuality is, my ride-alongs go far back to when I worked in Salinas. My first ride-along was with the Department of the CHP, where they were doing stopping trucks that were on the road that were safe. And so the attitude is when I grew up, I was taught that several things. Don't turn the dome light on because you'll get stopped, which wasn't true. The other thing was, don't look back if the cops are behind you because then you look suspicious. Always use your signal, which people don't do anymore, and then they claim that, well, the cops will use their signal, so therefore I don't have to use my signal. There's so many different things out there that we have been, keep in mind, I was born in Philadelphia, raised in Canton, and I grew up in pretty much an all-black neighborhood. So watching what goes on is in a whole nutshell, is just crazy. No matter what you are and where you are in the world, and Black Lives Matters or MAGA or whatever, everything is crazy. But I noticed that Gordon just popped on. I'm going to let Gordon, if he wants to say something, we're going to pop Gordon in for a second. Oh, he's shaking his head no. He's waving me off. Yeah, I can see you, Gordon.
Well, another thing about the police, when they make a stop, it is their world, and you have to understand that. Whether he's right, whether he's wrong, it's his world. You just shake your head. Okay. The court system is where right and wrong is done. And I've beat 2 cases in court where I've been wrongfully accused by police.
Well, I remember when I'm with the Highway Patrol or different agencies, I'll tell you this. When they approach a vehicle, they don't know who they're approaching when they approach a vehicle. They don't know at that point what's going to happen. They're walking up to the vehicle slowly, and they're looking, and hopefully that there's no threat to them, and they hope that their stop is going to be safe. Now, I worked in LA, and I did a piece with Fox TV a long time ago. This was KTTV, and I worked with Christina Gonzalez, and we did a segment called The Battered Badge, where they were showing the dichotomy between law enforcement and how they deal with the public and the minority communities, and how they deal with the public and the so-called rich, like in Brentwood. So in Brentwood, you get pulled over, they ask you for your ID, and they do this, they do that. But then in some cases, when you get to, in most cases, when you're out into the hood, they bring them out the car and they make them sit on the curb. And I never quite understood that, but we looked at it in a realistic way. We looked at it from both sides. And it was to the point where, at that point, Daryl Gates, which was the police chief, sent a letter to the station applauding for the piece they did. And it was interesting because, here we are trying to do interviews, and I was still kind of green in the business. I wasn't good at what I did. I wasn't what I do now. It was more of a level of learning, even though no one should have to learn in market number, I believe it's 2 in LA. But I went there from Salinas after 1 year. And that segment, we ended up getting nominated for an Emmy for that one. I didn't win, but we were nominated. So
that's good.
The beginning of the process for business.
like what's happening in D.C. There's some crazy people out here. I don't support. I wouldn't go to D.C. That's a crazy place on a normal day. But what's happening? I'm not surprised. Some of it, yeah, breaching the Capitol building. But one thing people don't understand, constitutionally, Trump does not have to succeed. And Stacey Abrams, when she had her deal down in Georgia, she never succeeded. But
You mean
Biden is going to be your
You mean
well, Biden's going to be your. No, I mean, Biden's going to be your president, and by Constitution, Trump doesn't have to succeed. He doesn't have to acknowledge Joe Biden. That's just a hand that's reached out. And another thing, if there were challenges in court, once he succeeds, that pretty well kills that.
Okay, but let's just make sure we're clear on this. You mean concede, right? Not succeed.
Concede, yes.
All right, because there's a big
Sorry.
difference.
Yeah, I see Gordon got me. But yes, legally through the Constitution, he doesn't have to. And everybody's like, well, send the military in there and drag him out. He's going to leave. You don't have to worry about that. But yeah, this is a pretty crazy day.
All right, so I placed a link down on the bottom. You can see it there. If you want to come on for a minute, I'm gonna be on for a little bit shorter time because I'm back again at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the very first podcast, Reasons Why Aliens Will Never Invade Earth. But if you're watching this, you're either watching on Twitter, and it's 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Gabriel, for sending me the notification. 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be talking about implied bias. And the guy I'm bringing on is an expert on this, and we're going to have a very heartfelt discussion. We will take questions for this one at the end, but there won't be any interaction with the public until after we get to the point where he's finished saying what he has to say and we talk about it. And we expect to go on for at least about 45 minutes to an hour. So you're welcome to join us. The more, the merrier. But for right now, if you're watching this on Capitol Hill, let's hope that it comes out to be the best. I understand the military is en route, the National Guard. They may be there already. I'm not watching. But you have to admit this is crazy. And yes, Catherine, I will come to San Francisco when it's safe. Thank you. This whole thing is nuts. And I want to come on and give you guys a chance to voice your opinion. And thank you, Jace. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Maxim. Gabriel's on here, but he's not going to say anything. Do you have something you want to say, Gabriel, before I go? I see you popped in. Anything you want to say, Mr. Gabriel? Okay, Mike's muted, so that means no.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
I can say it that I've never once been more worried about the future of the country in my life, and I'm only 18.
All right, well, hopefully this will all come out. Apparently, I'm not sure if this is live or not, but they showed a picture of President Trump on MSNBC. If anyone's watching MSNBC, can you tell me if that's live or if that's just recorded video from earlier? I don't know for sure. It doesn't say live for that particular video. But he is talking, so I'm going to go listen, and you guys do the same. And this whole thing is nuts, and I'm just going to say, wow. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having the chance to vent. Lauren, again, thank you for listening in, and I appreciate it. Remember, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and look for my link tree, and you can find that stuff. So until 3 p.m. Eastern Time, or as Gabriel says, until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll see you guys then. And thank you for joining us. Bye.